Hi folks, in the project single library page for our pro packages, we have this related projects carousel. And this one's a little bit different. It is an owl carousel, one of the cooler carousels. It flicks pictures through here. And this one's a little bit different than some of the other ones we've done because we've got a different heading and description, so it has a different look. We do have the link, so you can link this to a page if you wanted to link this image to a certain individual page. We also have the light box. Now the light box, this is a good example of where we've used a very large image for the thumbnail that you see in the page here. So when you click the light box, the image that pops up is huge. So it's a good example of how to use a really large image for these thumbnails. So let's just jump into Dreamweaver, and I'll open up the related carousel by right clicking on it and doing the open library item. And you can see the thumbnail images we use in this particular carousel. They're huge, and this is a case of using a very large image to start with, and because we're using a light box, and we wanted these particular images to be very large, in this example, we're going to use the same thumb image as we do for the light box image, as we often or pretty much always do. But in this case, it's different because we have a really big image that we're using for the thumb and the light box. All right, so I'll just take my folder here, and I'll double click on the pic. The default size is 1140 by 800. You can you can experiment and use different sizes. I've always recommended you go with the same image size that we go with, that we have in the particular component. And the only reason for that is because of consistency. When you start to use different size images, what could happen is you might get a different result. And I've seen this a lot, especially when you use different images for each thumbnail. And I've seen that too, where one image may be 800 by 600, the other one's 642 by 379, and then when all is said and done and you look at it in the page, you have these odd sized pictures scrolling through, and folks call me wondering why their thumb scroller is broken. And it's not broken, it's just the fact is when you're using images in sort of carousels, for example, consistency is the key in other words, whatever pictures you use, at least make sure they're all the same size and dimension, right? You could use bigger ones or smaller ones than I'm using, but at least make sure that they're all the same. Now this carousel here, one of the big differences is there's 3 pictures per carousel. In most of the others I use 4. Now because of that, the actual dimension of the image, the ratio of the images is different. Where 1140 by 800, that's a rectangle. Most of the other pictures I use are 400 by 400, 300 by 300, etc. They're all square, which makes for a perfectly square thumbnail. But because we're using a rectangle, we're getting this nice size right here. So that's the proportion or ratio that works very well for this particular item. If you use a different size ratio for your thumbs and your pictures, you're going to get a different result. It may or may not look good. That's up to you. If you get stuck, my only suggestion is go back, get your images resized to something that's relative to the 1140 by 800. So you could actually even cut that in half. You could go 400, right, tall, and half of 1140 would be 570. So go 570 by 400. Right, that's keeping the ratio of height and width the same, so you would end up with the same result, right? But anything less than that or different size than that, so 570 by 400 or 1140 by 800, that's what I'd recommend. And to update, of course, we just take our replace image, we drop it here, it's already selected, we click OK, boom. We're done, Bob's your uncle. You just need to update the heading here and the description here. Okay, and that's an H3 tag or a heading 3 tag, and this is a paragraph tag, and you need to make sure they stay an H3 in a paragraph so they're styled correctly, right? And then select your picture, flip to the code view, and if you've worked with Lightbox components before, copy the name of the image here and go down below to the FancyBox link and paste the image in right here so that you have a matching image when you use your FancyBox. And that's really all there is to it. The other thing is, sorry, it's not all there is to it. There's the hyperlink. So when we hover over, we have our FancyBox link down here, which opens the picture up like so, and you can scroll through them, which is great. We also have the link up here in the top right corner. So if you want to allow somebody to link, or I'll have this picture linked to another website or another page, especially if these projects are related to clients or organizations. You may want to link back to them, and that's what that's for. I shouldn't say Right here is the thumb link, and below it is the little pound sign, and that is where you would put the link for that thumb link icon. So we just use the pound sign, so you could either just scrub over it like so and manually type in the link. So you do the HTTP like so, or yeah, you know, something like that if you're going to do that sort of a thing there. Or you could manually type in the name of the web page that you wanted to link to, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You need to make sure you keep the path proper. So here's a little trick, because the hyperlink tool is not going to work in this particular case because we're in the code view like this. So if you don't know what your link is, so we're down here, we have the pound sign. What you can actually do if you want to link to a page in your site is go find the page in the folder over here, for maybe the sitemap page for example, or whatever the name of the page is. Drag it right over beside the, see where the href is right there, right here, drop it, okay, and then just double click, get rid of the name of the page, the black, and then go over here and get rid of the first A tag like so, and that's it. You're done. Right. Oh, the other thing you got to do is get rid of the closing A tag right here. So let me just repeat that because I kind of botched it up a little bit for you. Right. We have this right here. I'll do the services. You drag the page out, drop it in there, and that creates an additional link. Get rid of the text that it's for the name of the page and the closing A tag like so, and then you can actually get rid of the first bit right here like that. Right. The other thing you can do is you can just copy this entire bit of information in between the two quotes, pull it out, replace the pound sign, and then get rid of the leftover A tag over here. So a few different options to help out. Instead of trying to figure out how many dots and slashes you need, that's a quicker way of doing it.